Cyborg Alpha, Infinite Tween and Middle School for Life.
Well, it's time once again to begin another vlog. I've changed the miking position. Before it was beside me to the right, now it's in front of me to the right. You want to have the mic in a good position that picks everything up. But at the same time, you don't want it, too far away. You want to position it for the best possible sound. But because this is done, this vlog is done in a manner that it's as you go, or a work in progress. Every segment is a new experimentation to determine which sound is a better sound or which lighting is a better lighting. I've got a ring light now. Before I didn't have the ring light. I'd use other means of bringing up the proper levels in terms of the lighting. I don't care about the set. The set is where I am. This is my research desk. This is where I spend a large chunk of my time virtually surfing the world through the internet. But this is my cyberspace existence. So I exist on the internet. I exist virtually as Cyborg Alpha. And of course, there's the spiritual aspect, being on the path. And path is not a religion. The path is something more akin to what you would see in Eastern religions, an Eastern understanding of we'll call gnosis, the actual knowledge of the beyond. You have knowledge. Knowledge is typically intellectual. This is academic. Beyond the academic, you have the awareness of the beyond, of beyond your higher consciousness, if you will. That is gnosis, but then there is the gnosis is still connected to the universe. You're one with the universe, so to speak. Well, there is one where you become one with God, and that is metanosis. And in order to really get into metanosis, you have to understand that there is a beyond the gnosis. You have to understand that, again, with the path, it's not a religion. You're actually doing exploration. And this is why you can connect physics and exploration in physics with metaphysics, because the path, the methodologies is basically the same. And the more experience you have, the longer you've traveled on the path, the better it is. So that's kind of how you kind of approach things. And this is sort of the same thing here, is that it is a path, it is a structure. You travel along, the more experience you have, the more you can do, the better things you can do things with. In other words, there are a number of things that sort of set the pace as to being, okay, I'm here, but I want to be over there. I thought, well, then you try to figure out how to get from here to over there, but it's not always a straightforward path. Even though it looks like a straightforward path, it's not always straightforward. There's always roadblocks. There's a lot of twists and turns, and sometimes you're going backwards, or sometimes you have to go forward. Sometimes you go forward to a point, you reach a dead end, you have to back up and go another way. In other words, it is exploration. It is you can't really predict where things are going to go or how they're going to be. And this is, if you're into this type of exploration, then this is it. This is what you're looking for. However, if you want something more textbook, something more structured, this isn't it. This is far from the textbook. This is far from the button-down academic professor. This is the lab rat. This is the library rat, where you live your research. It's part of who you are. And so this is where we are. Anyways, I think that's good enough for the segment. I do have to get back to my meditation. I do have some food here for my pit stop, because I am aware of what I dream. My dreams are very active, and when I wake up, a lot of times I am very hungry. And I need more food to fuel the adventures that lie ahead when I'm asleep. So, I think I'm going to leave that here for now, and I will talk to you in a bit. Well, next segment. Well, it's been a couple of days since our last, well, I was going to say, this is the Catholic. It's been a couple of days since our last confession, but since our last segment. Anyways, it is 2 hours and 48 minutes into the first day of March 2023. We have survived another month. Our survival is day by day, week by week, month by month, and then eventually year by year, without necessarily knowing whether or not I will make it to the make it through the day, make it through the week, make it through the month, or make it through the year. So this is the nature of exploration. There is really no certainty. I do not have a sleep pattern, a standard sleep pattern, so I vlog when I can in a particular segment like this when I am awake. And sometimes that is a little difficult because a lot goes on in that time where there may not be time to vlog, to sit down to have a chat, a conversation, or anything of that sort. And so, but things are starting to come together. I'm building a new short order kitchen at my parents' place where I often reside to help them out in terms of their needs. And I have one here. I'm working on my baking right now. The cooking meals is not an issue. It's the baking now that will have to come in, and I'm going to be starting with cakes and donuts, and then move from there to cookies, and eventually breads would be the next sort of path. The music studio is still kind of lagging behind things. I haven't done the tests that I need to do. But then again, it's how things are kind of stacking up. And sometimes they're good, and sometimes they're not so good. And right now, I haven't been able to clear enough of my work list for the day to get to the music studio. So the music studio keeps getting pushed off. So that's kind of where we are now. And hopefully I'll be able to get outside either sometime this morning or in the evening for the next segment, or maybe at my parents' house, to show you the snow. One of the things is when you're doing observation, a lot of times it's not about what you see, but rather about what you hear. The observation is acoustical, or should I say, or acoustic. And that brings in a whole different dynamic. And now that I've got the new microphone working, I've got to test out the portable walk-around system and hear what I can do in terms of the ambient sound around me. And that would be sort of an interesting thing. So I might do a couple nights of observation that will sort of bring in the new system, allow it to function, and test out the quality of sound. A lot of that means I'm not going to be talking a lot. It's going to be me filming without having much of an input, and then waiting for a particular sound to come around, or typically the sound of the wind. This would be the observation. And then listen for distant sounds, like the sounds of a train or an airplane or something like that, to come in, sort of fill that space there. So, in other words, but listen, I never plan the observation. I allow the observation itself to determine the direction I'm going to be going in. This is sort of, once again, the nature of exploration. You do not predict where you're going. You allow the observation to dictate the direction you're going to go next. So that's what makes exploration in many cases not that stable, because you really don't know where you're going. Even that's what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be going into the unknown. You're supposed to be pushing your edge, pushing your boundaries, going to the edge as much as you possibly can. And you can't do that if you go within predictable paths. So anyways, I'm going to leave this here for now, because this is our next segment, and I will see you in the next segment. Hopefully we can sort of finish up the next vlog and get it posted. Alright, see you then. Well, you know you're in Canada when you consider 38 degrees Fahrenheit to be balmy weather. Anyways, it is 23 hours and 37 minutes into the first day of March 2023. So that's where we are for now. And just got back from my parents' place, which is my original place, and now my second off, well, my third off, so I went up north I'm still working on. But I'm setting up just the way I have here, a short order kitchen, but I wasn't able to get my camera out. Haven't got that fully set up yet in terms of the time scheduling, in terms when I go back and forth. There's so much to do to set up and to deal with the transition from one point to the next point, or one place to the next place, that the vlogging aspect often falls off, and well, it's just not there. And so nothing is vlogged, and nothing comes here, and unless of course I'm recapping it in our sit down for now. This is sort of going to be around 15 minutes for the I think it's going to be the last segment, but not really too sure, because I try to leave it like 20 minutes, but it's only been 10 minutes so far. We'll see how long this goes. Probably not going to be long, because I am doing my meditation. I might get up and vlog in the kitchen. That's where the Koi tea house really sort of blooms and blossoms, is in there. And then I'll have to wait till tomorrow to add in the vlog footage, or to do the vlog footage of the new kitchen that I'm setting up in my second office. Everything is based on short order. Things you can do quickly, things you can do easily, and there's not a lot of fuss time to do it. It's in the light of Asian street food. If you look at the street food vendors who make their own sandwiches very quickly, make their own food very quickly, and a lot of it is really artistic in terms of the culinary art that they bring to street food, its own sense of culinary art. But I would call it, culinary art, but I would call it more, this is where you get the cultural anthropology. You can eat your way through cultural anthropology. This is where you do it, at the street level. So anyways, I do have some meditation to get back to. I'm up to about 8-9 hours a day. Unlike Hinduism and Buddhism, the meditation does not need to be sitting in the lotus position, and it doesn't need to simply be still in with a candlelit room or whatever. The calmness, the meditation was not just for calmness, but it is there to sort of help you see beyond. Can be done at any particular point in time and anywhere. It's just simply a matter of getting yourself into the state of mind. That's all it is. Well, easier said than done. You do have to practice it. You do have to, you start off maybe 10 minutes, then you do 20, then you move towards 20 minutes, then the half hour, then the hour, and eventually, where I am now, I'm up to close to 8 hours a day doing meditation. And it's whatever I'm doing, my mind is still in the meditative state. I'm working on 24 hours, but it's not quite there yet for the 24 hours. So, anyways, I think I'm going to leave that here for now. I will do a vlog in the kitchen later on, but we will see what happens when that kind of pops up. Well, to give you how long it's taken to sort of finish the vlog, and we're still on one segment of a vlog, the last segment of a vlog. It is March 7th. 1 hour and 52 minutes into the 7th day of March, 2023. And a lot of times there's no time to vlog. Things go by you, things get into your system in terms of not feeling well, feeling too tired, not sleeping, going into a deep dive where you're doing a lot of research and you're chasing information around, trying to source things. And as we always talk about observation and that, oh, this is all observation. Well, it sounds like a conclusion. Even though it's an observation, it sounds like a conclusion. It's not intended to be a conclusion that is final. It is the conclusion in the moment based on the observations you've had so far. In other words, you have 4 or 5 observations that sort of connect together. You can draw a conclusion from them, but not the conclusion. You're not at the end. And you understand that. As a researcher, you understand that there's always more to do. However, the audience doesn't necessarily see it that way. They see it as, well, he claims. Well, no, I'm not claiming. This is a conclusion based on the observations so far, but there's often a lot more to do, and there are certain things that will come in that will certainly change your perspective. And as your understanding, your perspective changes, so does the conclusion. But a lot of times the conclusion could stay saying pretty much the same, but having new details to the conclusion. So that's kind of where we are. We've had a couple days worth of bad snows, and so no snowstorms. It's piled up, but not as bad as Utah. Ironically enough, if you look at certain weather maps, and this is from the satellite data, Utah and Toronto actually have the same weather patterns, and because it's part of the same system. These systems that produce the vortex, that produces the cold or cold vortices, they're the cold version of a hurricane, and they can be the size of a continent. And the ones that come in that hit us literally stretch all along the Rockies, from basically from up Alaska down to about Utah. They stretch across into Florida, sometimes up the East Coast. But the primary weather, the path will end up coming through the Ohio Valley, up that way from Texas to the Ohio Valley. That produces Tornado Alley as well. And up through Lake Ontario, through the St. Lawrence Seaway, and out to Baffin Island. That's the entire trip. Now, the bizarre thing is that the storms seem to go around Lake Ontario, so they either go to the north of Lake Ontario or to the south. And where I'm situated in Toronto, the north end of Toronto, more to the east, I don't get the storms. The storms kind of bypass. We get the edges of things rather than getting the full direct on hit. The west end of Toronto, where the church is that I go to, gets hit with everything. They're in the west. They're far enough in the west that they get hit with a full track. And so you can actually trace the weather from watching it from Utah up through Michigan and Ohio, and then into Toronto. You can see how these different local effects, called lake effects, actually impact different areas. So this is the way observation works. But it's taken me more than 10 years to figure out what's going on in terms of being able to find it. In terms of observation, I'm not working from models. These are actual observations. And there are a lot more things in the world, the reality, the real world, are not textbook. So if you want to do off textbook, I'm going to get into real research, you're going to leave the textbook behind and things get a little hairy. But if you like research, this is what you want, well, this is it. This is research for the seat of your pants, and it does have risk. Retooling, upgrading, rescheduling. Even because sometimes you get hit with censorship, like on YouTube. Redoing my channel, realigning my channels, my media presentation is quite enormous. It does take an enormous amount of effort to do this, but it's not always recognized, it's not always seen, and no, there you go. Anyways, I will see you in the next vlog, next segment, opening segment, probably in about a couple hours from now.
Welcome to the library, and I am the librarian.
I am the professor. And professor of what? Professor of physics.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
Free speech rules here at Democratic Earth.